Just a little announcement for our South African fans. I'll put the links down for you in the details. We're going to be having a day where you can come and sew with us. So it's a day of fun and sewing. So you'll have a choice of whether you want to do the short fun shorts or if you want to do the longer length Angelique shorts. You'll have the choice and you can come along and sew with us on the day. We'll literally go step by step with you and help you and guide you while you sew the shorts together. The price also includes a lunch. So all you need to do is bring your sewing machine with you, and if you have an overlocker, bring that as well. And we'll be supplying everything else. So you'll be getting your fabric, your thread, you'll be getting all the supplies and tools that you will need. The space is very limited, so you want to get there as soon as possible, book those tickets. Right, now you can see your pants are really starting to come together nicely. What we're going to do now is we're going to hem the bottom of the pants, so we're going to be creating the cuffs. It's really quite easy. You're going to start by folding over your pants by roughly 5 millimeters or 1/8 of an inch. So you're just going to fold the pants inwards towards the wrong side by 5 millimeters or 1/8 of an inch, and you're going to press that flat. Once you've pressed that flat, you're then going to fold over your pants a second time. You're going to be folding it over, this time however, by about 2 inches or 5 centimeters. So you're going to fold over the bottom of your pants inwards, still towards the wrong side of the fabric. So inwards by roughly 5 centimeters or 2 inches. Once you've done it, you're going to again press it flat, and then along this top fold, so the very first fold you did for the 5 millimeters, along that top fold, you're going to stitch your cuff of your pants flat. So do that, and then we'll come back and finish off that cuff. Okay, there you go. So just to cover again, what we've done is on the wrong side fabric, so the pants were inside out, we fold over the bottom of the pants by 5 millimeters or 1/8 of an inch. We pressed it flat. Again towards the inside or the wrong side of the fabric, we fold in the pants by 2 inches or 5 centimeters. And then we stitched along that first fold line and we stitched that into place. And now we've turned the pants right side out, and this is what it looks like. To finish off that cuff, we're now going to be folding the pants outwards towards the wrong side of the fabric. So we're going to be folding it out by 2.5 centimeters or roughly 1 inch. It's going to be folding the pants out and pinning that into place. And then once you've done that, you're going to put your color thread on your sewing machine, and along that fold line you're going to be stitching that cuff flat into place. So just fold it out by 2.5 centimeters or 1 inch all the way around, press it, and then just stitch that flat with your color thread. And that's how we will be finishing off the cuff of our pants. As you can see, I have stitched along the bottom of the pants roughly a centimeter or 3/8 of an inch from that top fold. And all I need to do now is press it. But the bottom of our pants is done, and all that's left to do is the waistband. And you can put away your color thread because we are finished with that for now. So grab your waistband with wrong sides of fabric facing. So with the wrong side of the fabric facing, fold your waistband in half along its longest length. And you're going to press that flat. You're going to press that flat first so that you have that fold line and you know where to work from. So press that flat first. Then, once you've pressed that so you have that line, along just one length, one of the longer lengths, towards the wrong side of the fabric, fold the fabric inwards by 1.5 centimeters or 5/8 of an inch. So do that, press that inwards and press your waistband so that you have that fold line. Then once you've done that, along the ends of your waistband, so you've pressed the bottom flat and you've pressed your fold line, then with the fabric facing, so you'll see it's going to look something like this. So you'll have 1.5 centimeters excess here. You'll have 1.5 centimeters or 5/8 of an inch fold in and pressed. And when you fold it in half, that's what it's going to be looking like. And what you're going to do is with the standard seam allowance, 1.5 centimeters, 5/8 of an inch, you're just going to sew that section closed. So on both ends of your waistband, just sew those ends closed like that. So with right sides of the fabric facing, I have sewn closed the side seams of my waistband. So if you have a close look, that's what it looks like. So you've got the pressed seam and the seam that has been pressed yet, and that's right side of the fabric facing. And taking your small scissors, just trim away excess fabric at the corner. Don't cut too close to the stitching line though, otherwise the fabric is going to come undone once you finish your garment. So stitch it from about halfway between the end of the seam and the stitching line. Just trim away a bit of that excess fabric in the corner. Now it's just going to help remove some of the bulk once you turn your waistband right side out. So turn your waistband right side out, push out those corners, and you can see how much more neatly that sits. So grab your shorts. Now we're not attaching the waistband just yet. What we're going to be doing now is finding the placement markings for our belt loops. So just line up the waistband on the top of your pants. We're just going to be looking for where to place the belt loops. So we're not attaching the waistband just yet. So just pin it all the way around to your pants. Now the reason why we're doing it this way is because your waistband will be a bit longer on one side than the other because of the fly shield. So that's the best way to do it, is this way. So what you're going to do is there's going to be 7 belt loops. The first one is going to be here, just above where the pocket ends. So where that is, on both sides, place your first pin marker. So that's your first 2. The second one's going to go in line with your side pockets. So that's your next 4. Okay, so that's one's in the front. Then in the back, you're going to place one directly above the center back seam. And then midway between the center back seam and the side seam. So you'd work out where midway between those are. And that will be where you're going to place your 5th, your 6th and 7th belt loops. Right in the middle of those 2. So now that you know where you're going to place your belt loops, we're now going to do that. Now you can see clearly the 7 positions where you're going to be placing your belt loops. So grab your belt loops, and then on the longer side, so the side where you haven't pressed, this is where you're going to be placing them. So at every pin marking, line up the belt loops that they're 1.5 centimeters from that top fold, or 5/8 from inch. So measure 5/8 of an inch or 1.5 centimeters from that top fold. Make a mark, and that's where you're going to be placing your belt loop. The bottom of it will be matching that marking you've just made. You're going to pin that into position. Now, what you're going to do is 1 centimeter up that belt loop. So you place it 1.5 centimeters down, but 1 centimeter up that belt loop. Make a second marking, and that's where you're going to be stitching your belt loop. So you're going to stitch along the top, that 1 centimeter line, and you're going to stitch along the bottom just to make sure it looks fairly neat. So you're going to stitch along the top and the bottom of the belt loop to secure it into place. So the next one again, measure down 1.5 centimeters or 5/8 of an inch. Line up the bottom of your belt loop with that marking and pin it into place. Then 1 centimeter up or 3/8 of an inch, you're going to make another marking on the belt loop, and you're going to stitch it on that marking, and you're going to stitch it on the bottom, secure it into place. And you're going to do that for all 7 of your belt loops. Okay, so there you have it. I've sewn all of the belt loops onto the top of the pants, closest to the side of the fold. So as I said to you, I measured 1.5 centimeters or 5/8 of an inch down from the fold. I placed the bottom of the loop there. I then measured 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch up the loop, and I stitched there, and then I stitched at the bottom of the loop, and I've done it for all 7 loops in my waistband. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the loop down and match the other raw end with the raw end of the waistband. I'm then going to put that into place and baste it into position. I'm going to do that for all 7. Just fold them down, match up the raw edge with the raw edge of the waistband, and pin that into place. And once I've pinned it into place, I'm going to baste it into place so it doesn't move. I'm going to do that for all 7 of my belt loops. Then once you've done that, once you have folded over all the belt loops and basted them into place, you're then going to be attaching them to your shorts. So grab your shorts, and right sides of fabric facing, starting at the center front of your shorts. Line up that, so you're going to be lining up the unpressed side and the side that has all the belt loops. You're going to be lining that up, right sides of the fabric facing to the top of your pants. There you go, and you'll be stitching those together using a standard seam allowance. So I've now attached the waistband to the pants, and quite simply I'm now going to take this open raw seam, tuck it into the waistband and pin that into place. I'm going to press the waistband upwards, and then using a blind hand stitch, I'm going to sew the inside of the waistband to the inside of the pants. So for those of you who want to know what a blind hand stitch is or haven't done it before, it's when you take the needle and thread and you sew. So you see there's this fold, you'll be sewing in the fold, so you'll have your needle go in the fold, then it'll come out and it'll catch this seam, just below the stitching line. Sorry, just above the stitching line. So it'll go, as it comes out, this fold goes directly into this fabric, and then as it comes out this fabric, it goes directly into the fold. And by doing that repeatedly, you don't see any stitching at all, because the majority of the thread is hidden inside the fold of the fabric or just above that seam. But I'll show you in a moment how that's done. So I'm literally tucking the seam into the waistline of the pants so that you don't see it at all. So there we go, I've pinned the seam into the waistband so you don't see it at all. And now I'm going to just press it so that it sits quite neatly. And then you can really sort of get a good idea of how your pants are going to look. And now just to cover how we do a blind stitch. Just cut some of the thread. So let me see if I can zoom in here for you. Once you've done this stitch a few times and you'll really have a hang of it, and you don't have to worry so much or find it so daunting. So it's really, you just start off, just tuck the needle underneath between the two layers just to get it in there and hook it on there. Okay, so there's the thread. The end knot, just tuck it in so you don't see it. Okay, then you're going to take your sewing needle and just tuck it into the fold. Just tuck it into the fold of the waistband so you don't see it. Okay, and you feed it for a little, maybe like 1/8 of an inch, 5 millimeters, and then it's going to come out. And exactly where the needle comes out, exactly where it comes out, you're going to put it in the bottom fabric, just above that stitching line where you've just joined the waistband. And you're going to tuck the needle in between the layers, so it's not going to go all the way through. It's never going to go all the way through. You'll never see it on the side. You're just going to tuck it underneath that first layer, and the same thing. You're going to stitch about 5 millimeters. You're going to just slide it through about 5 millimeters. And then where that needle comes out, exactly there, you're going to do the same thing. You're now going to tuck it back into the fold of this waistband. And you keep doing it like that. And when you pull it tight, you'll see your stitching disappears. And you've done a blind stitch, you cannot see the stitching. But your waistband is being attached to your pants. So just do that. Again, wherever it comes out, so it's now just come out the waistband fold, it's going to go straight below into the, I'm not going to go diagonally. The moment you start going diagonally forward, you'll start seeing the stitching. So exactly where it comes out the top, you put it in the bottom. Slide the needle in for about 5 millimeters, 1/8 of an inch. And then repeat exactly where it's come out from the bottom. Slide that into the top fold. And then yeah, when you pull it tight, you're not going to see that stitching at all. It's all going to be completely hidden in the fabric. And keep doing that all the way along. You'll find, especially because you're working with a hard fabric like twill or denim, that eventually it can become quite uncomfortable for your fingers. So what you'll see is, and I'll put a link for it in the description, you get these silicone thimbles. So it's like the old metal thimbles where you actually can't feel what's going on and you do struggle. It's It's a silicone thimble that just slips onto the tip of your finger and allows you to get a good grip on the sewing needle so you're not struggling. And of course you're protecting your fingers in the long run. So that's what I'm doing. I'm continuing all the way along, stitching 5 millimeters, 1/8 of an inch. Needle comes out directly where it comes out, goes back in the other side, and then just keep on going like that. Before you know it, you have perfectly attached and closed waistband. I did a lot of bridal work before, and this blind stitch is probably one of the most common stitches that I did. Brides don't like to see stitching in their gowns, so I really became a master at this over the years. Okay, there you go. You can see your pants have come along quite nicely by now. Should be looking quite professionally made. And all you need to do now is sew your buttonhole in the top left pants. So you can see I've already done my buttonhole. I've already cut it open. And once you've created your buttonhole in your waistband, you're then going to just pull your waistband so that it's closed however you want it to be closed. So you want everything to be nice and lined up and neat. Just pull that closed and pin it into place. Then take a marking pin and right through the center of that buttonhole make a hole on the opposite side, and that's where you're going to be sewing your button. Or like me, if you have a jeans button where you're going to be hammering it in. So just make that mark right through the hole. Here we go. So there, now I can see where my button is going to be going. So this is quite a nifty little tool set. Basically I take this tiny little, looks like a screw almost, a screw, sort of screw nail type device, and I push that through the back end of the pants where I want the button to be. Okay. So there we go, that's just peering through the fabric there, and that's where I want it to be. Okay. Then this little tool has 2 circles, a small circle and a big circle. Big circles for the button and the small circles for the back. So I just put the small circle over the back end and lay it flat. So just the tip pointing out. I put the button on top and I close the little tool over it. So that tool's now holding my button in place. Grab my hammer, a few little knocks, and it attaches the 2 button sections quite neatly. And then really quick and easy, just like that, my button is attached to my pants. And look at that, my pants are now officially complete and ready to wear. There we go. So enjoy your pants and feel free to share your creations with us on Instagram at Bula Heart. And until next time, happy sewing!